Okay, so let me show you something really simple in terms of understanding scaffolding. So children in mathematics, the first thing they're going to learn is how to count how many dots there are. And that's symbol based. In fact, before that, it's going to be concrete objects like how many lids do I have here in my hand or on the piece of paper. So that's very 3D. Then it goes to 2D, which is representation, such as a circle. How many circles do I have, or how many dots do I have? And then it becomes more abstract. So here we've got, well, your child's going to learn to count 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just normal counting. Then he's going to learn to perhaps count backwards. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we have a better understanding of the number system. Then we might be going to, what is 2 plus 1? If I've got 2 dots and I add another one, how much have I got? Simple addition. Then the addition gets harder, and perhaps we get to 42 plus 12. Now we've got maths that is going down. We're going to do subtraction. 7 minus 3 equals, right? At the moment it could be a line or a square. As they get older, it will be 7 minus 3 equals x. Now that's where it comes from. Then we want to go to multiplication. So multiplication is repeated addition. So if I go 2 plus 2, that's the basics. And if I add another 2, what have we got? Well, that is 2 taken 3 times. Multiplication. Then we go to division. What is 6 divided in half? Then it could be divided in thirds and all things like that. And then we go to what is repeated multiplication. 2 times 2 times 2 is 2 to the power of 3. And then what would that be? So maths is a scaffolding, and you would start it from grade R all the way through to where exponents get introduced, I think, in grade 6. But if your child can't do exponents, we've got to go back and figure out where along the path they struggled with getting the concept. And then we've got to build that concept back up in order to get back up to where they need to be. So when I give you the CAPS document, what I'm doing is I'm showing you the full component of all the grades. So let's look at maths here, for example, which is the easiest way to look at it. So in grade R, in terms of the heading of counting, let me just zoom this in terms of counting forward, in grade R, they're expected to count from 1 to 10. In grade 1, they're expected to count up to 100. In grade 2, they're expected to count up to 200. In 10s, in 5s, in 2s, in 3s. This is skip counting. So can I go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, all the way to 200? In grade 3, we're still talking about counting forward. Can I go to 1,000 in all of these interval skip counting methods? Then if we flick over the page and we keep going to another heading, now we're still on basic mathematics because it's section 1. Now we're looking at counting backwards. In grade R, they should be able to count backwards from 10 to 1. In grade 1, counting backwards from 100, but also in 10s, 5s, and 2s. So you see how we're building on the skill. If your kiddo is in grade 2, and all we do is rate overall the grade 2, and they rate as a 2 out of 7, it would be very interesting to see if they had embedded the grade 1 or the grade R information. Because if we're getting a 2 out of 7 here, which means has started it but has no skill at all, if there's no skill in the grade 1 level and we go back to grade R and there is skill there, we have to build up from here. We can't keep getting them to count in 3s backwards from 200 if they still can't count in 1s backwards from 10. So the CAPS document really reflects this bigger sense of where your child is at. So the idea is you look at the grade that they're in, look at the rating there, and then you explore backwards and forwards in terms of the grades to see where their skill lies. And you can see each heading. So this is still section 1, and this one is number symbols and number names. So can they write the number? Can they recognize the numbers? Can you see how, again, it changes levels? Then we go 1.4 is describe, compare, and order numbers. So that would be another section. I'm going to flick forward to another. There's repeated multiplication. Let's look at, so section 2 in the CAPS document is patterns, functions, and algebra. Geometric patterns. In grade R, you must be able to copy and extend a basic 2D drawing. Can they do that? By the time they get to grade 1, they need to be able to do more, and more at a high level, and then again at a high level. So the document is giving you a very strong picture of the full curriculum, not only for their grade, but how they feature in terms of ability a grade back and a grade forward. So we as teachers can see where we need to go in order to solve the problem. If you find a section of the mathematics that hasn't been rated, it means we haven't got there yet. Then you go back and see, well, what is causing us not to get there? Oh, my child's in grade 2 and we're still getting 1s and 2 ratings for grade 2. So we're not moving on to new sections until we bed this down. Your job is, when we give homework, is to reinforce these basic things that we need to get done, need to get sorted, that we need your child to be able to at least be able to do, not necessarily even master, but do at a high enough level in order to move on to the next section so we can start covering it. So your help at home is really, really important, because we want children to practice. If they don't practice, they don't retain the skill. So here we're still talking about 2D shapes. It's the geometry side, then we get measurement, so you'll see that as well. And then you'll go into the English as well, and still maths. And then the English section will have a similar sort of thing, especially in the junior grades. Very specific things that we cover. In the senior grades, we've taken grade 4, 5, and 6 and pushed it together. So because from a grammar point of view, there's just a lot that needs to be covered. So have a look at the CAPS document again and see if you can figure out, if you were the teacher, which is what I was when I started the school. I then needed to take over my child's education because I felt they were teaching her more of the curriculum for the grade she was in, and they weren't going back to solve the problems. So bad habits were being built on top of bad habits. Go back and see what you can see in your child's CAPS document and where you feel they need to be supported at home so we can get them further up the curriculum. I hope it makes sense. We're going to be having parent meetings at the end of this month, the beginning of Feb, and I can go through it all again with all of you so that we really move forward and get some even more progress this year. I hope this has helped.